All right, man. So I've been thinking. The Dallas Mavericks are getting zero respect when it comes to who is the best in the Western Conference of the NBA. And today, I wanted to declare why I believe the Dallas Mavericks are the best in the West. Let's get straight to it. All right, man, so I'm going to take you through a couple of things by looking at these rosters as far as how it pertains to the Denver Nuggets, to the Oklahoma City Thunder, the Minnesota Timberwolves, and then a couple other teams that you might think would be a threat to be the best in the West. And then I'm going to show you why I think they're not, and I'm going to tell you why the Mavericks are. So let's go ahead and start with everybody's favorite team who they just keep gifting MVPs to. Let's start to the Denver Nuggets. And as you see here, who they lost this offseason, they lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, they lost Colin Gillespie, they lost Justin Holiday, James Huff, Reggie Jackson, and Braxton Key, just to name a few players, all right? So that's who they lost. As far as who they added Trey Alexander, PJ Hall, who is DeRon Holmes, that right? DeRon Holmes. They added Spencer Jones. They added, Gabe McLaughlin, Dario Saric, Russell Westbrook. And then they re-signed Ken Carr and DeAndre Jordan. As y'all saw, I didn't even try to pronounce Ken Carr's name. Like, that's just too much. This team is going to still be a good team, but they're just not going to be the level that which they were at previously. They have lost Bruce Brown. They have also lost Kentavious Caldwell-Pope in consecutive seasons and have not replaced that production. If you're telling me Michael Porter Jr. is going to replace that production, go ahead. If you're telling me Christian Braun, I actually believe in the kid. I think he's pretty good. But as far as like the way the rest of the team is set up, Dario Saric, yeah, he's 30. He's not going to be horrible, but I don't think he's replacing or making them better. DeAndre Jordan is 36. He is past his prime. He's just there to ride the pine. Pause. The Nuggets do not scare me in the terms of how I look at the Dallas Mavericks. The Dallas Mavericks have every bit of counterpunch to everything that they have to offer as far as basketball goes, and basically on paper. Right now, everything is going off of paper. And I am estimating and projecting that the Dallas Mavericks will be better than the Denver Nuggets. So that is the Denver Nuggets. In a nutshell, they didn't really improve much. And and I think Russell Westbrook is a major overhyped play as far as the way he was on the team. Did you not see him melt down in the playoffs versus the Mavericks? Like, let's keep it a buck. All right. Now let's go ahead and let's move on to the Minnesota Timberwolves. Who they lost? They lost Kyle Slow-Mo Anderson. They lost Jordan McLaughlin, Wendell Moore Jr. Crazy. They lost Monte Morris and TJ Warren. It's not like he played much. Who they added? They added Rob Dillingham. They added PJ Dozier, Jesse Edwards, Joe Ingles. Okay. And Terrence Shannon. That's cool. And who they re-signed? They re-signed Luka Garza and Daishen Nix. Where do I begin? If that's who all they lost, and that's who all they gained and re-signed, and they lost to a injured Luka 4-1, I'm not worried about no Timberwolves. Yes, Anthony Edwards is a legit player. He's a legit star. But is he on Luka's level? No. Cat, pretty good. But can he get schemed off the court? Yes. Rudy Gobert, come on now. We already know. We've seen it. And again, if y'all remember clearly, Luka was hurt, and we beat these guys in 5 games in the Western Conference Finals when everything was on the line. I don't want to hear anything about the Timberwolves. When you look at the roster, they got Anthony Edwards, Joe Ingles doesn't move me, Rudy Gobert, Anthony Towns, Mike Conley, he's older now, 36. Naz Reid, he's a really good player. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, you saw Luka walk him down. Jaden McDaniels, he's a good player, but again, Luka hurt, still outplay these guys. And then they got a bunch of rookies on this team. I just don't think they have what you're going to need to get you over the hump. Anthony Edwards is a great player. He's still going to be great. You're just going to need to have like superior greatness in comparison to Luka, and he just does not have that to be able to get over the hump versus the Dallas Mavericks, who have improved their team quite a bit, which we'll get to the Mavericks in a bit. But yeah, I'm not scared of the Timberwolves. They're going to be a good team, and I'm not here trying to shit on any of these teams, but I'm just telling you, I ain't moved. Let's go to the next team. All right, the next team is the Oklahoma City Thunder, which they were first in the West, and they had a very competitive series against the Dallas Mavericks. And a lot of people will say that they are the best in the West, and one can make a very valid argument that they are. But let's go and let's take a look at their offseason moves. Who they lost? They lost Bismack Biyombo. They lost Josh Giddey. They lost Gordon Hayward. They lost Keontae Johnson. They lost Mike Muscala. They lost Oliver Sarr and Lindy Waters. Who they added? They added Alex Caruso, Alex Dukas, Isaiah Hartenstein, Dylan Jones, AJ Mitchell, and Nikola Topic. Who they re-signed? They re-signed Isaiah Joe and Aaron Wiggins. So they didn't obviously it's a re-sign, but the big splash acquisitions was Alex Caruso and Isaiah Hartenstein. And then when we took a look at the full roster, this full roster is very, very competitive. It is very good. You look at what they got. They got Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, Jalen Williams, Chet Holmgren, Jalen Williams, Alex Caruso, Isaiah Joe, Aaron Wiggins, Cason Wallace, Kenrich Williams, and Isaiah Hartenstein. So Hartenstein and Chet Holmgren are their biggest players per se. Hartenstein being the biggest, beefier player, which I feel like he is going to help Chet Holmgren a lot. The Oklahoma City Thunder are going to be a very, very, very difficult out in the playoffs. They're going to be a very difficult team to deal with. I honestly do believe it is between the Thunder and the Mavericks on who is the best in the West. But then whenever you pair up the Mavericks versus the Thunder, the biggest thing is who is going to guard Luka. And will Luka hobbled find a way to get players like Derrick Jones Jr. and PJ Washington to beat them in a 6-game series? That says a lot. Now imagine if Luka was healthy. We've seen what Luka has done to that team when he is healthy. Alex Caruso is not a Luka stopper. I don't care what y'all say. Y'all can say he is a great acquisition, and he is. But he is not a Luka stopper. And when you don't have a Luka stopper, which no one really does, and you have the team that Luka has around him, then it's going to make it difficult for any team to try to beat the Dallas Mavericks. With that being said, the Thunder could definitely beat the Mavericks, especially if they got a good shot here, if they get some good refs here, whatever the case may be. They're a formidable force in the NBA, especially in the Western Conference. But from my perspective, the Mavericks just have better size. They have better players, better shooters, and the Oklahoma City Thunder can shoot. But I think the Mavericks have the better creators to get better shots, as opposed to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being the main guy out there. I just don't see them having that second ball dominant player, or not a ball dominant player, but a second ball handler that could create plays. I don't see him on the team that could do anything like that other than Jalen Williams. But we'll see if Jalen Williams could develop into that secondary player option that could create plays for others. He did good in the playoffs. Again, he will improve. This team will be a lot better moving forward, but so will the Dallas Mavericks, especially Derek Lively and everybody that we got as well. So it is like neck and neck. I'm giving the Dallas Mavericks the edge just because they have the better players. The better player in Luka Doncic, and they have clutch players as well, and Klay Thompson and Kyrie being able to make late game shots. And PJ Washington had a hell of a series against them in the last playoff. So again, I was not shitting on the Thunder here. So any Thunder fans that think I'm shitting on y'all, I'm not. I actually look at y'all as a real threat, but we're just slightly better than y'all. Call me biased, but not slightly. Fully biased. Salute to slightly. The Grizzlies are going to be a sleeper team. I would say that they are not better than the Dallas Mavericks, but I do feel that they are going to be quite a bit of a threat. John Morant, I just really believe in what his play style and just his moxie to be able to get his teammates to believe in their style of basketball. He's one of those ones, man. And I think the Memphis Grizzlies will be battling for a playoff spot. I think they're going to be pretty good, but I don't think they're going to be number one in the West or best in the West. But don't be surprised if they make a run and make you feel like they are a threat because, the only issue is they don't really have a center necessarily as they lost Steven Adams. So it's going to be interesting to see how they fill that hole because the Dallas Mavericks will end up taking advantage of them due to the sheer athleticism they have in the center spot. But that's definitely one of the teams that I'm keeping an eye on. Another team is the Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns, man, they made some good deals. They got, let me tell you who they lost and who they gained. So who the Phoenix Suns lost in the offseason, they lost Udoka, they lost Drew Eubanks, they lost Eric Gordon, they lost Saban Lee, David Roddy, Isaiah Thomas, Ish Wainwright, and Thaddeus Young. Who they added? They added Jalen Bridges, Ryan Dunn, Colin Gillespie, also, I don't know how you say his name, Tyus Jones. That's a massive pickup. EJ Lindell, Monte Morris, Mason Plumlee, and Ty Washington. Who they re-signed? They re-signed Bobo, Damian Lee, Royce O'Neal, and Josh Okogie. So that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm actually very surprised with their offseason. So when you look at their team, they got Yusuf Nurkic, Devin Booker, Bradley Beal, Nasir Little, Damian Lee, Grayson Allen, Kevin Durant, Mason Plumlee, Tyus Jones, Josh Okogie. Like they have actually a really good team. Now, do I think they're going to be best in the West? No, but I do think they're going to make it difficult for some teams. The thing is, it's going to come down to health. Again, Kevin Durant is not a young player, man. Kevin Durant's been in the league for 16 years. Mason Plumlee is on his 11th year. Bradley Beal's on his 12th, but it feels like it's 15th. Can these guys stay healthy long enough? The Tyus Jones is a massive pickup. I do believe Tyus Jones is going to be able to keep them as a well-oiled machine. Like now they have an actual point guard, and that is quite a bit of a threat in all reality. Does Tyus Jones make them a top team in the West? Not necessarily, but that is another team you definitely want to keep your eye on. So I definitely think the Phoenix Suns are going to be quite a bit of a threat, but they're definitely not going to be better than the Dallas Mavericks. All right, let's go over to Dallas Mavericks and who they lost this offseason. They lost Greg Brown III, Alex Fudge, Josh Green, Tim Hardaway Jr., Derrick Jones, and Markieff Morris. They added Spencer Dinwiddie, Kessler Edwards, Jazian Gorriman, Quentin Grimes, Najee Marshall, Emmanuel Miller, Jamarion Sharp, and Clay Mother Effin Thompson, and re-signed Brandon Williams. When you look at the Dallas Mavericks roster, we're talking about Luka Doncic, Kyrie. We're talking about Jaden Hardy and Quentin Grimes, Klay Thompson, Najee Marshall. We're talking about PJ Washington and Maxi Kleber, then Lively and Gafford, or whatever the case may be. However you want to go about the order, whatever the case may be. The Dallas Mavericks are a actual deep team. We're talking about they have legit 11 players that could play on this squad and fill roles. And we're not even talking about the Dante Exums or anything of that nature, man. Like this team is quite formidable. Jaden Hardy as well. That's what I'm saying. Like the Mavericks literally built this team, added to this team properly. They were able to make decisions quickly in the offseason. And I think they're going to be good. Not only good, they're going to be the best in the West. And I think 58 wins to 60 wins could get you the best in the West moniker with the number one seed. And I think the West is going to be a lot closer this season. And when you look at the Dallas Mavericks roster, they have a pretty nice schedule. I mean, when you look at the Dallas Mavericks schedule, they look like they have a really nice schedule as far as how the season is going to go. So if they are who we think they are, and they built this team properly, and Jason Kidd, maneuvers and pushes the right buttons for this team, I definitely see them being as the best team in the West. So with all that being said, I mean, you look at Luka Doncic, he should be able to come back a lot healthier, and hopefully with Spencer Dinwiddie being able to share some of those responsibilities with Luka and kind of allow Luka to rest a lot more, that is going to be the biggest thing for me. Me personally, if Spencer Dinwiddie is playing anywhere between 10 to 12 minutes, for Luka Doncic, that is lightening the load for Luka Doncic, where we could get Luka to 34 to 36 minutes per game as opposed to 40. Those minutes that he does not have to play will compound over time and keep him healthier later in the season. So whenever he is in the playoffs, he's not having to deal with quad issues or hamstring issues like he did in this past playoff run. And if you were to ask me if Luka was 100% healthy in the playoffs, the Dallas Mavericks are the NBA champions, and that's how I look at it. The only reason the Celtics beat us is because Luka was completely hobbled and fighting for his life out there. So, but that also says how much the Dallas Mavericks dominated the West because of how good Luka Doncic is at every single team. No matter what they did, they still had to adjust to him. And Luka made all the right plays, either allowing Kyrie to go off, PJ Washington, whatever the case may be. The Dallas Mavericks are going to be a lot better. You got Derek Lively developing, and he might be able to develop that three and space the floor out more. And if you saw, Gafford is also not a lot slimmer, but more leaner and more athletic, and knowing that we're probably going to need him to be better defensively on the perimeter. So the Dallas Mavericks are going to be a legit team this upcoming season. I ain't even getting into the acquisitions with Quinn Grimes, Clay, Najee Marshall. Who knows what these guys are going to be able to add to this team, because it is going to be extremely impressive with adding players that can shoot threes, play make, and play defense. So yeah, man, I got the Dallas Mavericks being the best in the West. That was my personal comprehensive review. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it. It's been your boy TGK. Catch y'all on the next one. Also, you could also catch me on Midnight Madness, which is always either on a Friday or a Saturday night with my co-host Sticks. Anyway, we out.